We got a couple people joining now. Sorry about the hiccup on the other feed. I guess I double clicked the go live button because it started and stopped. So the live stream was only 1 second. My apologies on that one. Hey, Brian. Hey, JR. Yeah, I saw you guys had comments on the other. Sorry about that. Hopefully everybody was able to see what mistake I made and able to jump over. But when I realized I was talking to myself, that's when I knew something was wrong. I looked up and I didn't see, I didn't see anything going on. But what I was saying was that earlier today, so far I've not taken any positions. But I was following price after the opening bell this morning on its way down, and I thought we were going to tag into the new week opening gap and close in the regular trading hour gap because just before the opening bell, I looked at the session high for London. London high and low were both traded into, and then also the Asia high and low were both traded to as well. So there were no session highs or lows to get into to target at the opening bell, and so that's when I looked at the new week opening gap along with regular trading hour gap as maybe that target. And so price pushed lower and got about 5 handles before tagging into the new week opening gap, and then we pushed higher until 11 o'clock. So we had about an hour and 20 minutes or so of that. And then it started trading lower, staying inside of the same range all the way until about lunchtime. And I had an appointment, so I had to leave before 12. But that was what we had this morning. And so now I'm looking to see if these breakers that were created Friday afternoon, right? So on the 1 minute over here, we had a couple breakers created on Friday afternoon, price pushed higher, traded into it, and then just kind of fizzled out until the close of the day. However, it did not invalidate the breaker because we didn't get a closure below the swing lows here. Then we had the new week opening gap open up much higher than that and then trade higher overnight. And so now we're trading back and closing in that range, it looks like. But whenever there's no high impact news and the Asia and London high and low have been traded into, then I look for price to do a consolidation or a seek and destroy profile. Okay, good job, Seth. Yeah, scalping definitely was a better move this morning. This price was not gonna just run for 100 handles or so. And a lot of 50, 60 handle moves and then reversals. Even if you look here, you'll see price went from this low to this high, back to the same low, back to the same high, back to the same low. Follow. Good evening. I also have a 1 minute breaker that is created a little bit higher. So not only do we have the ones down here that price traded into, yeah, we also have this low, this high. But we have not had any confirmation of, so nothing really to talk about yet, but there's a potential there. Oh, one thing I did want to mention, I don't know if you guys have looked for the earnings that are going to be announced this week, but we do have some sizable earnings coming for Nasdaq. So Like last week, I think we only had Tesla that we were looking for, and for those of you who stayed on late on the day that Tesla announced earnings, we did have a decent move between 4 and 4:30. But this is what we are looking at for this week. So not a whole lot this afternoon, not that I noticed, but tomorrow we have, okay, but tomorrow we have AMD announcing. We also have Google, Alphabet announcing. So that's going to be a big day tomorrow afternoon. On Wednesday, close Microsoft and Facebook will be announcing. So that's also a big day. And then on Thursday, we have Amazon, Apple, and Intel. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, not only do we have high impact news throughout the day, but we also have earnings being announced at the close of the day as well, or after the closing. So we usually get a decent sized move between 4 and 4:15. At least that's when it'll start. But we'll see the 4 o'clock hour being a bit more active than it typically is. Okay. I appreciate it, Luke. Oil dumped hard. Oh, yeah, Robin. The first stream that I put out, I don't know if I think I double clicked it when I went to start the stream because it started and stopped. So the stream was only 1 second. And I was sitting here talking and it's gotten started. And then I looked up 5, 6 minutes later and realized that nothing was happening and no one was responding. And I looked into the details and realized my stream was closed. So sorry about that, but glad you found me. Biblical. Yeah, biblical. That was what I was looking for this morning when we got to 9:30. So this move down here, I thought that's where we would target. And then when it started breaking back higher, then I wasn't sure. But that was my initial assessment is that we would, since the London and Asia high and lows were all traded to before the open bell. And then we started to see price trading lower. I felt like that's where it was going. But of course, it took all the way until during the lunch hour to really confirm that. Hey, what's up, Dion? Slim, okay, you found it as well. I saw you were on the other feed and we got dropped. Yep. But this week, not only do we have high impact news Tuesday through Friday, but I just showed everyone, if you just joined, I just showed the earnings that will be announced Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And the big players on Nasdaq are all announced Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of this week. And then, of course, we have NFP on Friday. So a lot happening. Since we closed in the previous fair value gap, let's see if this one stays open. It created this one right here. I'll just draw it just for illustration purposes, but we close it in already. Trade it out and close into it. So we'll drop that one, but we'll hope this one here stays. Oh, I was hoping that we would have gotten a confirmation, and that would have been our unicorn. But no confirmation yet. Hey, Queen, what's up? All right, looks like most people have found me now, so I feel a little better. A confirmation here, but it's a weak one. Very, very small candle body, no displacement. Yeah, consequent encroachment, a new week opening gap is down at 500. Trading now a gap, 150 handles. You can see the opening bell traded through constant encroachment. We retraced. And it just now been pushing. Now we're about 75% down. In fact, let me just measure it. All right, 71%. Even, yep, 78% retracement so far. And that's the regular trading hour gap. Yep. That's probably what happened, Luke. The short was too obvious this morning. And so everyone was probably targeting the regular trading hour gap. Yep. And Brown, what's that? Said, have traded the 150K before. Are you asking a question? Have I traded the 150,000 before? Is that what you're asking? Yeah, lots of equal highs right here. Instead of mention that par trader. Right, we see that since 11 o'clock, really, nothing's happened. About 9:45 is when we entered this range. We made one bullish push out, retraced back in, and now we just been sitting here. And so the range, based on what we saw with the news that's going to be announced this week, as well as the earnings that'll be announced this week, our weekly range is going to be created by those announcements. And so it's not surprising that this is how price is trading today. What about it in Brown? Yes, I've traded that account before. What about it? And are you talking about Topstep or are you talking about Apex? Where are you? All right, the 150 macro starts in about 4 minutes. See if then we get displacement towards maybe the equal highs at 570. Yeah. So in Brown, what I see is that the 50K I think gives you the best ratio of drawdown to goal or to target. I think you can draw down. Let's see. if I can remember. Yeah, I think you have to profit 3K and you can draw down 2, whereas all the others, your drawdown to target is a 50% ratio. So you can only draw down half what the target is. So the 50K account gives you the best odds, I guess. But as far as the target is concerned, it's all the same. It's just a ratio. So the way I would do it, if you would trade one contract per trade on the 50K, if you're doing 150K, it's 3 times as much. I would trade 3 contracts, and then it's actually the same um, for both. But again, you get a slightly larger drawdown ratio on the 50K account. But I wouldn't say either one is harder. But Loot was correct. Your risk management is really the key. And I know psychologically you have to get used to the larger number because even though you know that the ratio, the 150K is 3 times the size of a 50K account, when you start seeing the drawdown and you're used to seeing being drawdown a couple hundred, and now you see yourself in drawdown $600, $700, are you able to still put that into perspective and say, oh, okay, I have 3 contracts, it's only 225 per contract? Or do you see 675 and that, makes you tense up? So all those things should go into which account you decide to try for. Okay, we're in macro now. Let's see how price responds. And for displacement, so if we get a candle that pushes out and closes above to where they can create a new fair value gap here, that's what we're looking for. Oh, Seth, you're in the 50? Okay. Yeah, I think that's where most people start. Most people start in the 50K. It's a cheaper price to get into. And like I mentioned, you do get a slightly larger drawdown ratio compared to the target that you're supposed to reach. Yep, right on par. You're right about that. See if we can keep this as the breakaway. Let's see if we get a good closure here. 2 seconds left. Okay, right here. That's where your eyes. Let's see if we leave this open. All right, so we did close in and we left the fair value gap here. $5.50. Just traded inside this one. Yep, see if we get a push from here, 550. Now we have balanced out this wick as well as tap the breaker one more time. I think wants to hang around until 2 o'clock. You know what? I didn't put my lunch levels in, so let me go ahead and do that. Here we go. So now those equal highs at 571 is actually the lunch high. Yeah, Seth, do yourself a favor and set your chart to East Coast time, UTC -4. So you're always speaking about it in reference to the time that it is in New York. Yep. All right, it's 2 o'clock now. And this breaker really hasn't given us a lot of range after the confirmation. The confirmation actually happened over here at 134. We had a better confirmation at 152, but so far no impulse to the upside. That's a good question, Luke. So right now, I think we're on PST. Arizona is, but whenever the time changes next week or whenever in a few days, probably Sunday, this coming Sunday, then we'll end up. Well, Arizona will then be on Mountain Time because we don't change time. So I'll be able to get an extra hour of sleep in the morning, which is good. Hmm. Okay, so no unicorn on 5 minute, just a breaker. Let's just take a quick look at that. Pretty much the same as the 1 minute. Confirmation 130, further confirmation at 150. See, we did put a bearish fair value gap here. I want to see if we can cover that up with an impulsive candle and create another one. You're right, Queen. I do think is election invoked. Why price action has just been not really doing its thing recently. And if you look at, if you go like on a weekly and you look at the range, we've been pretty much stuck where we are for 8 weeks or so. Hey, print trade, what's up? Okay. Yep, I'm looking at that one too. Don't get a trade lower, then we get a fair value gap here. Like I said, I wanted to cover this bearish one with a bullish one. Hmm. Yeah, Joseph. So the way I structure or I consider it to be valid. Okay, looks like we might be getting some movement here. But Joseph, for me, the breaker's valid until we get a closure below the leg that trades down, the manipulation piece. Right. So the breaker is this leg. from this swing low to this swing high. But then this leg down that trades lower and takes out a pool of liquidity before claiming the breaker by trading above it over here. This is the invalidation point. However, if price trades below the breaker, I won't take an entry until it closes above at least consequent encroachment, but I do like for it to reclaim it and close above the breaker again, like over here. But as far as deleting it off my screen and not using it, it needs to close below the leg that swung down on a bullish breaker. And when that happens, then I'll take it off my screen. And if price trades back to that area, it's just that area, but it's not a breaker that it trades into. But for now, the breaker will stay there until I get a closure below the lunch low. Right, that concludes our 150 to 210 macro. We'll now shift this to the next hour. That's 1 minute there. All right, we'll give price about another half hour or so, and we'll see if it wants to break out of range. And if it doesn't, then we'll break and we'll end our session for the day, and we'll come back tomorrow. And while we're waiting, anyone who wasn't on earlier when we took a look at what earnings we have coming this week, well, first let's take a look at the calendar. So if we just look at our news release calendar, we see that there's nothing here on Monday. Monday's completely blank. And so I already came into the week looking for price to behave the way that it currently is. And then not having a London higher low or a Asia higher low to trade to this morning at the opening bell kind of solidified that for me. But you can see there's red folders Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, with Friday being the NFP. Now, with that being said, if we now look at the earnings schedule for the week, today at the close, nothing big that I can see. I don't really recognize some of these companies, but the ones I do recognize are Tuesday after close, which is AMD and Alphabet, which is Google. So I recognize those as being big drivers for Nasdaq. So tomorrow at close, we need to pay attention. Then as we get to Wednesday, we have Microsoft and we have Facebook. So we'll be looking for that as well as a big mover of Nasdaq. And then on Thursday, Thursday, we have Amazon, Apple, and Intel. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of this week, there should be some good movement late in the afternoon as we anticipate the releases coming just after the closing bell. So keep that in mind as we trade throughout the week. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday not only has high impact news drivers throughout the day that will be driving price, but we also have large companies with large percentage of Nasdaq being announcing their earnings after the closing bell on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So 4 o'clock to 4:30 time window should be a bit more active than it normally is. Yep, yeah, Luke, for sure. So it's good when you can get constant encroachment, the whole price above and have closures above. But yeah, since we start getting closures below, you do start to see the weakness there. Speaking of which, there's a closure below. Yeah, part trader. So if you look at the news releases for the past 2 weeks, we've had no high impact news on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. I believe the only day that we had high impact news was on Thursday the past 2 weeks. So that had a lot to do with it. But yeah, the election coming up can't help. Um, and it could also be not only just the elections coming up, but anticipating these earnings coming up that I just went over. So this week I'm anticipating some good expansion. And if you look at the higher time frame, like the daily and the weekly, any of those levels that you were looking for price to move to over the last couple of weeks, and it just hasn't done so, this might be the week for that to happen. I am currently not in a position set. This price action not inspiring at all. So I have not taken a position. Yeah, that may actually be what happens today. We just close out the opening. I'm sorry, the gap created from the regular trading hours. And that gap will be filled at the new week opening gap low at 475, so 20,475. Prior to that, about 30 handles before we get there, we have the lunch low at 506. right trade to the lower extremity of the breaker, as well as the fair value gap. Let me drop down to the 1 minute. Okay, new week opening gap high is being approached now, a couple points away. And yes, we are below the breaker now. Now, some prices kind of been at a stalemate. I like to look at halfway points through the hour. So at 2:30, I'll look and see what price wants to do. Yep. Go 149, 49. I think if I'm looking at it correctly, I think I know exactly where you are, Carlos. Right here. Okay, so we swept the equal highs. All right, you want to take that one. Would have then given you a confirmation. Confirmation would have only come over here at 215. And now we would be trading back into that. Yeah, that could be. Only thing I just hate breakers within breakers, especially opposite directions. So then you'd be talking about a bearish breaker inside of a bullish breaker, right? And so you'd be looking at that. Confirmation came here. We had a couple taps, 4 or 5 in a row, sweep of a low there. Now we're back above that high, and looks like about consequent encroachment. So yeah, really what this tells me is don't take an entry. If you can start looking at it and you can go both ways. It's better to just not take one. As a minimum, let's move up time frame. So let's look at 5 minute and see what do we think now. All right, so we still have bearish price structure on 5 minute. That would only change right here. Mm-hmm. Nice one, Seth. Yeah, this is still the price leg that we're in. We're in the price leg that began here and swung to this low. All right, here's 230. Now let's see if price is ready to do something. Oops. Punch low 507. It's about 25 handles roughly. Oh, okay. So the week of NFP trade in pre-market. All right. Appreciate that, Queen. Yeah, I did notice that the London highs, like I said, the London and Asia session highs and lows were all taken before the 9:30 bell. I think he also says during the NFP week and FOMC that we should try to finish trading by, I think, Wednesday morning. Great closure inside of new week opening gap again. Okay, so the draw should be on the lunch low, and then we'll see if we get the new week opening gap low, which would close in the regular trading hour. All right, we got about 10 minutes before the next macro begins. We're down just straight back to the breaker. However, we're still below it. Looking for price to break lower. I don't see any inefficiencies in price here, so there's really no need to trade higher other than maybe to trap some people. But now we have a fair value gap and we have a volume balance right here at 530. I'll be right back. I'm just going to go and grab some water. All right. Nope. My bad. I forgot to turn the camera back on after we went over when we were looking at the earnings that were going to be announced. Sorry about that. I oftentimes forget that. So thanks for the reminder. All right. There's a lunch low. About a 30 handle push from the breaker here. And this 5 minute candle closes. And I'm going to switch over to the 1 minute because we have the macro coming. constant encroachment of the 1 minute break from Friday. But it's the same one we tapped into earlier, right as we were starting the lunch session, or I'm sorry, the afternoon session. These were the lunchtime moves inside. But the afternoon session traded down to consequent encroachment, and then that's when we saw the last bullish leg, and now we're back down there again 2 hours later. But this go around, we did just take some liquidity because we took the lunch low. Trend line here, let's see if that gets broken. Currently trading above this volume imbalance. I want to see it close above, and that's at 532. And if it does, then we end up with this bullish breaker. Mm, it's hard to say with the way things been going today. It wouldn't surprise me if we do attack the lunch high, and that's our range for today, but we'll see. I'm still not in a position, and still, I don't really feel enticed to do so. I Hey, Pink Floyd, where did you get lost? What happened? Do have a confirmation and an impulsive confirmation. I feel like I've seen this before, and price actually goes lower. I don't know why I'm having this deja vu moment here. Yeah, I'm at the point where I'm just looking forward to tomorrow, which is why I was saying that we give it half hour or so. And I said that at 210. So now we're into the next macro. I think I'm gonna drop off after this macro is completed. I think there's too much to look forward to on the back half of the week than to try to go on a 50-50 here. I mean, I do like trading back into the bullish breaker during the macro. But, and not only that, we got a nice unicorn setup. Consequent encroachment, the fair value gap is right on the new week opening gap high. Here's that bearish breaker from earlier. So we did trade back into it, almost out of it, but we did trade back into it, and it's still valid. Yep. Yeah, well, let's hope. I mean, let's hope that this week's announcement of all the earnings from on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday is enough push price to take all the levels that we've been looking at on the higher time frame and to loosen things up. Now, ES made an all-time high a month ago or longer, and Nasdaq still hasn't done so. So maybe this is the week that we get close to that. Hmm. Yeah, filling the gap would be down to I think it's the new week opening gap low, 475. Right. And we haven't really done much now. So even if we push higher and we're still up in this lunch high range at close of the day, and after hours could definitely send price lower and we could still into London take that level. So it doesn't have to happen on Monday. Right. Just tap the constant encroachment of the fair value gap. Oh, I'm sorry, it's constant encroachment of the breaker, the upper edge of the fair value gap. All right, there's 50% of the range. It's trading all the way through. Mhm. Yeah, we did take lunch lows, biblical. You're right about that. We got it right over here, 246. So now we just close in this, what I thought could have been a breakaway gap. We just close that in. So this is how we kicked off power hours. This is the 3 o'clock candle. Push lower. Looks like it probably took out anybody who had close stop loss. Maybe now we'll move higher. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm anticipating, biblical, is the lunch high to fall during this hour. But I'm not expecting too much further than that. Let me look and see if there's any price above that needs to be balanced. Hmm. Yeah, maybe a go to this fair value gap I have up here, this pink one at about 590. Let me extend it. So Got about another 5 minutes or so, and we'll break until tomorrow. If anybody has any questions or comments, make sure it's in the chat so we can address it. And anyone who's leaving, jumping off now, if you can hit the like button or subscribe if you haven't already, that would also be much appreciated. Okay, we now have this wick bounce. See now if price continues lower or if it turns around. Yeah, definitely a tough day. Longs have not been strong today. And the funny thing is, price has been sitting inside of this hourly fair value gap, bullish fair value gap all day, and it hasn't mattered. We can even take a look at the hourly here. See, here's the hourly fair value gap, essentially created from the close on Friday, the opening candle on Sunday night, and then the 7 p.m. candle. Price trade back into it and is just slow grinding its way down to the lower edge. Oops. All right, now if we grab, let's just take a look at our higher time frame here a little bit. Sure I was looking at that correctly. All right, so I have Fibonacci on last week, so this was part of last week. Anyone who was on the stream on Friday, we were looking at TGIF setup, and we took a short all the way down to the 30% mark. Price continued on. That was our target. You go ahead and drop that, take it off. But we can see so far where we are. We're just below where we opened up at. We'll see if it closes out this gap. But we are inside of a weekly fair value gap, which we've been in for the last 6 weeks about. We're inside of a bearish weekly breaker. We're in the top quartile, but we've been inside of this breaker for, I don't know, 2-3 months. And then if we switch down to the dailies, when we start to see some bullish price structure that may get us above this hump. And this is what I'm hoping that, since we've been stuck here for multiple months, that once we get all the earnings announcements on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday this week, plus NFP on Friday, that we're finally able to break this and we're trading higher. But you can see that we definitely have been stuck for quite some time. Daily breaker, larger one, is bearish. Bullish one is smaller, just below. But no fair value gaps created in here. I think the last fair value gap we have is from September 12th. So you're talking a little over 6 weeks to have a fair value gap on the daily, which is price telling us it's not going anywhere. Not able to have consecutive impulsive days. Yeah, you're right, Quinn. It is bearish, but ever so slightly. This is the last 4 hours. The last 4 hours of price hasn't gone anywhere. So, it happens sometimes, especially on a Monday without any high impact or medium impact news. So price really just hasn't gone anywhere. So we will stop there and make sure that we don't lose any capital before the better days are ahead of or in front of us, and that should start tomorrow. So we're back at it tomorrow, 1300. Let's see, no questions or comments. Down at 10. Oh, you're talking on the 15-minute. Mm. Yeah, Queen, probably the best entry, if you're looking at the 15-minute, probably was like 8:45 or 9 o'clock candle tapping into a bear spread there. And then that sent the opening bell lower. Just pull this up, everyone, just so you know what we're talking about. The 15-minute. This would have been your bearish breaker. Confirmation, 6:45. Trade back in at 8:30, 8:45, 9 o'clock, 9:15 candle. Shot through it. But if you were, Queen, I'm not sure which of these on the 15-minute you used as your breaker. But if you use this one, then yes, you could have gotten in at 10:30. And we do not have a bullish setup 15-minute. All of the bullish setups on the 1 and on the 5. So, yeah, 10 on the hour. That looks like the same type of situation at 10 o'clock on the hourly. You can see the same bearish setup. So, yep. And that was all confirmed by the drop at 9:30. So, all right. Everyone, thanks. Thanks for joining today. I do appreciate your attendance and your helping out in the chat and asking good questions. But that will do it for the day. We didn't get any really large price moves, but we'll be back at it tomorrow. All right, everyone. I hope you all have a great evening, and I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.